We also have with us Margaret. She's also one of our cultural liaisons. And she can also tell us a little bit about traditional foods. What would you like to share with us?
I would like to share making dry meat.
Okay.
Uh, Sometimes, traditionally, the Stony people the men will go out hunting year round, and they know when and what type of animal that they should get because they rely on the wild meat year round. And in the springtime, about this time, they say that the animals are losing their bulk, their fat. So they will still go out and get the moose, and they will harvest the meat, cutting out, butchering the meat, and they still smoke it. They still make dry meat, and they still cut up the ribs and they will smoke it, and they will rely on that. And in the spring and in the summer, they say if they start eating the greener grass, that's when they're developing their fat, their more nutrition in the meat itself. So they will harvest the meat during that time too. And in the fall, that's when the animal will get fat. But they have to watch the season, the month, and the time where they cannot shoot the elk. It's during August. They're rutting late August into September. If they get the male, the men were told, do not shoot the male elk. I noticed that was a tradition and they always kept that knowledge in the past. And I remember a few times I've seen it that and I heard the young people went and shot the uh, male elk during the season, and it has an odor that can go right through the meat, and that's I've smelled it too, and that's not good. It will go right through the meat itself, and it doesn't taste good. You will taste that odor, the bad odor with throughout the meat. So they're told don't touch that.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, October and November, that's when they will get the elk, and they will harvest the meat. The men will go out hunting, they will butcher it in a, this is a long time ago I'm talking about. They will cut it up in the forest or where the kill occurred. They will butcher it and save every part of the animal, and they will bring it back either on horseback or wagon. However, they will bring the meat back to the camp, and then the women will start cutting up the meat. They usually out there when they're butchering the animal, they will cut it in the middle, and the middle part of the body, the animal right through, and then they will start butchering the leg itself. Or after they cut the middle part, they will take out all the intestines, the liver, the kidney, the heart, and there's usually a little ceremony or tradition that they will take the kidneys separately, make sure it's safe, and then they will take that home to the elders, and or they will take a bite of it, and those are the delicacies in the past. And during the fall, especially when the intestine is really healthy, and they will clean out, they know which part to take and which part they can save for fat. There's a certain, I don't know, I have to look it up in a dictionary to see what they call it in English. In Stony.
How do they call it in Estonian?
Yeah, uh, that big, we used to call it the veil.
I think it's something similar to the tribal tribe. Good tribes.
The tribe is different. This one, Tejiksie, that's the one, Tejiksie. It's a fat that's inside the body, all part of the inside. They'll take that out, and it's really fat, so they will rely on that to maybe fry it or frying it over a pot, and they will make grease out of that. They will save that, they will put it aside, and then the women will start cutting up the hind quarter. If the men bring back the hind quarter and the front, they will cut off by the elbow part or lower, because they will even use the lower part of the legs and the front, for there's muscle there, but they will save that. They will smoke it, and they will really boil that, and they will boil it for a long time, and that's part of their delicacy too. They will cut that up, and the elders will eat it.
That's wonderful.
And the ribs too, they will take it out. It's quite big. The moose and the elk, deer, they will take that out and they will smoke it. They will either cut it alongside the ribs by itself, the long ribs. They will hang it and smoke it, or they will probably chop it up, and then that's called the harvesting of every part of the body. While they're doing that, they just don't use any kind of wood. They have to go and pick a certain kind of a wood to smoke the dry meat. And I know where it is, a certain kind of wood. I have a smokehouse, but I have to go in the forest and get the boys to bring back, chop the wood and bring it home.
Okay.
And making dry meat, they will cut up the hind quarter. They cut it through the muscle. Make sure that you don't waste anything. You follow the mark of the muscle. There's layers of meat in between the muscle, so you follow those lines and you take it out, and then you will make the dry meat. Mom and I, Mom used to make dry meat sitting down, not by a table and a chair. Even when she was older, she will put a canvas on the ground, or if it's cold, she'll make it inside the house. Put a canvas there, she'll put her little cushion there, she'll put her big apron on, and certain pieces of, we'll say a plate or a container, and she will make sure that all these tablecloth and everything is washed and cleaned before she starts all that. Her knife too, my dad used to sharpen her knife. He would be sitting someplace with a filing for my mom to make dry meat. And then they will continue that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will hang it on the rack. Mom used to have this smokehouse. It's similar to a teepee, but there's wood there. She will cover it with branches and then a canvas. That thing will be going day and night. And I remember Mom telling the boys, go and put wood in the fire so that, and you can't overload the fire. It has to be at a certain temperature, certain heat, and a certain amount of wood that they put in there. It will start heating and smoke. That's how the dry meat is made. You don't really burn the wood so that it will burn the meat, and it usually takes 3. On the 4th day, it will.
Wow, it will take a long time.
During that time, Mom used to tend to it. She would spread it out in this clean canvas, cover it, and then sometimes she will, to make it more tender, they will walk on it, but make sure that everything. Mom used to be very clean, so she'll put a canvas, she'll tap it with her hand, or she will take a little walk over it, make sure that it will be tender.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's going to go like this and curled up and really tough.
Oh.
So you have to keep the dry meat flat
Mhm.
during that time. Eventually, by tending to that on the fourth day, it will turn into a good dry meat. And that's how Mom used to make it. From there on, she will take this piece of dry meat and make it more crispier, perhaps on the open fire, and they will pound that for pemmican. They will pound the dry meat for pemmican, and Dad used to help, and the boys,
Mhm.
we all used to help Mom pound that dry meat. It will become flaky, like a soft, flaky piece of meat. Mom never used any modern type of thing to soften her dry meat or to pound it. We used to pound it with shiny rocks that Dad picked, and we use that to. We'll cover the dry meat as we're pounding it at the end and make it all fluffy. It's just like a cotton candy.
Yeah.
It will start piling up like a cotton candy. And from that fat, remember that fat I was talking about? They will put that in there, they will add it, and Mom will add a little bit of sugar, or she may add some dry Saskatoon or blueberries if she has some. Mix it, make a ball, and that's your pemmican.